teacher for the science department, in which he was found murdered April 22nd. The police officers got a call at 6:55 in the morning, and they arrived there and to investigate the scene. It was a homicide, stabbing wounds in the back. We knew the body had been there more than a day because of the fact that there was flies around it, and we had to gather up evidence and interview the people that we thought could be potential suspects of the murder. And here's what we covered with the following information.
My group and I were able to agree that Mr. Sierra is responsible of the murder of Mr. Smith for several reasons. First reason being because of the bite mark comparison. My group and I received photographs of Mr. Smith's bite marks found on his body of the crime scene, and we also received photographs of Mr. Sierra's dental record, and there were a lot of comparisons. As you can tell in both pictures, there's a lot of similarities with the incisors, the canines, the premolars, and the molars. First, the next similarity is that they're all crowded. Then the shape, the size, and the direction of all the teeth. And that's why we were able to conclude that the bites found on Mr. Smith are from Mr. Sierra.
How often would you communicate with Mr. Smith?
Recently or before?
Throughout your whole relationship?
Communicating in terms of what?
Like, you're like, oh, you guys would hang out during lunch, or like get lunch together, or like go after school and hang out?
I want to say maybe like 3 times a week.
Mr. Smith and Mr. Sierra never had a close relationship like the other teachers said they had. The most conversation they had were high and bys, according to Mrs. Sierra.
Based off the dental impressions of Mr. Sierra, we used this to match the bite mark found on the crime scene. We then used this evidence to go to his classroom with the warrant, finding black substance that was on the crime scene, as well as the murder weapon, which had blood on it.
Fellow forensic scientists, so I'm here to talk to you guys about the composition. So Mr. Smith was murdered on April 18th. His body was found on April 22nd, on a Monday. So he was last seen on April 18th, which is the day he was murdered. So his body went through something called putrefaction, which is when bacteria release gases, which cause bloating, which then release fluids, which caused flies and bugs to have access to his body, which, as you guys seen, his body had flies and it was pretty nasty. Very horrific scene, which, yeah, basically, that being said, that makes my point that he was murdered on April 18th, but found on April 22nd.
On behalf of the CSI unit, the murder of Mr. Smith was discovered using entomology, study of insects, bite mark impressions, a single blade, and a black substance which was found in both a classroom and at the scene. We believe that the murderer who murdered Mr. Smith was Mr. Sierra.